All right, so another episode of What the Hell Am I Doing Here? I figured out a lot that I had completely forgotten the last time I made a video on this. So hopefully there's a little more insight here, and I can explain a few things maybe a bit better. And we'll kind of get some screws stuffed in here, and I'll get it all started. I'm starting to put it together, at least the pieces that I've machined and stuff. I don't know if you can see that stuff over here in this. We looked at it last time. I'll put those things on and kind of talk about some of this stuff. One of the things that I was trying to describe last video is this kind of piece, this piece right here. So it's, I guess it's a stabilizer for the suspension. So you got your shocks here, and I don't know if you can see this. I'll try to make this happen. I'll hold it down. But when the shocks go up, do you see how that, is this showing up right? I don't know. Let's see. Try a little bit of an angle. See how it kind of, I guess not really. Try to do this again. When the suspension flexes, it pulls on this device here. Maybe if I lift them up a little bit. I'm going to get rid of these in a minute, so that's why they're a little loose. But you can see that they pull up, and they actually, there you go. They actually operate the other suspension at some point. There's some flex in those struts. So suspension goes up, it compresses, and you can see the whole bar is kind of moving. So this, at some point in that compression, you know, it's also activating a little bit this suspension as well. And that seems to be a good thing, I guess. I wouldn't call it truly independent suspension, but it does stabilize the suspension, I guess. And, you know, provides some assistance to it. You know, I don't know. You guys probably know this stuff better than me. But that moves in, bends this bar a little bit, and you get some additional suspension support from the other suspension, the other side. Don't know if that's there. See, they're both compressed that time. You can see that there, perfectly clear. See the other side compresses? All right, so it's kind of important. However, for my purpose, they get in the way. I can't have these things in here because, and this is how it came, right? The car came like that. Because I need this room for a steering servo, which is going to be this guy mounted in here, kind of like. Kind of like this. Yeah, there's some holes in there. That's I drilled some holes for that. Yeah, okay. So this thing is actually, maybe it's this way. Sorry, there you go. Yeah. All right, so this guy gets mounted in here like this. If that makes any sense. See that? And then it's the steering servo. So it operates these guys here. I don't know if you can see those, but you can see those little alarms down in here. Get my hand out of the way. See that? There you go. So when its thing turns, there they are. You know, that's how that works. Okay. So when I got this thing, this stuff was flipped over. It was down here in the back. And there was a servo mounted somewhere in the side here. Two servos were mounted in the side. Something like maybe one over here. Maybe it was over here. And all this stuff I cut away. Sorry, I should get to the other side. All this stuff I cut away. And in it was mounts for servos. The brake servo and the steering servo. So these control arms guys here, we're facing out the back, or facing toward the back, not toward the front where they are now. Okay, that had to be changed. One, because I had no spots for the servos. Once I cut that whole piece out, removed the tank and the motor and all the other stuff. And then two, I needed another room for the battery, for the second battery. So I don't know if you recall, or if I even mentioned it last time, but one battery was lined up in here. I don't have them out here right now. And then another battery sits in the slot. So in between here. That's where the other battery goes. So I had to gut that area and shift everything out of the way. So I flipped this steering mechanism here. I don't think you can see it, but it's way back in here. That's going to focus the wrong way for you. Here. This stand, by the way, is fantastic. It's in there. So I flipped that steering control arms around, pointing out the front, and then of course this will mount like this. This is I made this plate just to accommodate the servo. It's kind of detailed. I can adjust the position. Threaded some holes, tapped and threaded, and it'll go in here. But sorry, this direction. Okay, that's kind of cool. So then those control arms will attach the servo linkages. You can see that kind of there, maybe. And because of that, that whole stability thing I was just talking about with the suspension had to go. I still wanted it, so I had to create something in its place to achieve the same effect, which I'll show you in a second. What else did I want to say? Oh, the other thing that I ran into when I flipped the this steering thing is that because the front of this car is kind of cantilevered up, or it's got a little bit of a rake here. It's not across that same plane. You can see it bends up. The control arms would actually hit the deck, hit the base of this. So I had to also raise this piece, the whole mechanism inside. So when these attach to the servo arms, those servo fins, whatever they're called, it wouldn't be hitting the base of the model. So this is a little stand that actually sits, take the screw out here, this guy, it's just aluminum, will sit inside. You really can't see this. I could probably try to move the camera, but it sits inside and there's a hole underneath, and I'll look at that more closer when we get to that. I'm not going to do this tonight, so I will be back talking about this as we address it, some video down the road. Anyway, there's a base, props this thing up a little bit so I have the clearance on the deck. Just a little extra feature, sorry about that. Screws in under the bottom. All right, so okay, back to the suspension thing. So that thing had to go. Lost the ability to have this stability, which I'm not so sure was even necessary. I probably could do without. The suspension's pretty firm, but I mean, you can see, actually, this is interesting. I never really tried this. I'm telling you right now, this is a heck of a lot easier to compress this shock without that servo and without the stability part of it. So I guess it's a good thing I came up with a way to work around that, having removed this. Also, throughout the whole body of this thing that I've removed, there was braces that went between the two sides of the frame to provide stability, so that had to be addressed as well, because now it's all flexy. And I'll show you what I did for that. Get this out of the way. So these guys, okay, here's where we're going to run into some trouble because I will forget what I did. Okay, these are really kind of complex. So this is how I decided to address that stability in the front. I made these, I don't know what you want to call them, cam kind of things. They have these axles. It's a one piece. It's one piece. Through hole, tapped, so I can clamp the stabilizer arm I made out the front. On here, there, and then actually this guy on here will clamp onto the stability arm, the top guy. See, I'm still having trouble. And this guy, well, let's see where he's clamped. So he's going in like this. Now you can see I had to machine out these little grooves on the model, on the main frames itself. I don't know if you can see that, but there's you can see that's kind of shaved down here. You can see this piece here. It goes in a little bit. So I had to machine that out to make clearance for this thing. So, it was a lot of work. And now there's clearance, so that's kind of cool. Do one on that side or this side, I think. This way, because the screws at the top, maybe. Yeah, I'll have to figure out which direction they really go in. Okay, so we have that. This is this stabilizer thing. So this is just a piece of aluminum. It was just aluminum, just an aluminum bar. Cut out a groove, a slot. Took some pretty. This is not coat hanger. This is I don't know what this is. I think I had it from a different model and I cut it down. So just a stability, this is, I guess, a steering stabilizer, steering stability thing. Threaded little thing so I pinch the two halves of this thing down on that to hold it in place. These little ridges are just decorative. They would go in the front here. So let's see if I can get this thing in. That goes in. This goes in. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. All right. So they're in. Now that's kind of cool. Trying to figure out why I had that thing in there, but I can't at the moment. All right, that's neat. So now, that's why. Here you go. So these guys, I'm gonna take this off. Now I just remembered. All right. So these struts now go through this new stability thing, like this. Let me take one off and show you. So I don't know if you can see that, but it goes through here like that. Okay. Then it goes in here. And this screw, there's a set screw down in there, clamps this guy to at the height that I want to set it up at. So there's one in. Put that guy in. Let's see. Not going. Maybe he must be the other side. Try that. Try to flip this guy around. Maybe it goes this way. Okay, so maybe I had them mixed up. Didn't seem to slide in as nicely as I thought. Come on. No, you want to go in there. Oh shoot! You know what it is? It's the things that screwed through it. I don't know which size this thing is, but it's the set screw's too far out. I don't feel like it. Yeah. I hope this is it. Yep. Okay. Neat, right? Okay, so we'll try this one more time. Now I can slide. Old guy, so I'm shaky. That slides in nicely. This goes in here. Getting there, right? And then I'll do the other side. Same deal. This strutty thing goes in. I don't know if you can see that. It's coming along nice, right? So this little guy goes in here. Sorry for the shaky hands. I'm just old. And then in this piece here. Okay. And then, I would put my screwdriver in there and tighten that out at the height that I want these things. The farther up they are, the more flex there is in the system. The lower it is, the less flex and more rigid. So depends on how you want your suspension to perform. These guys go back in here, and now the system is complete. Now watch this. There's now room for the servo. Of course, I'm not really, anyway, we'll see if I can get in there. Now room for the servo. Servo goes in upside down. So I'll just take my word for it, because I should have put the servo in before the brace part. But servo goes in here, plenty of room for that guy to operate. So now I'm clear with that, including with the little elevation I had to make. Oh. And the suspension function, that stability thing, is restored, as you can see here. It's I gotta put that all the way in. Lower these a little bit. It's too loose right now to demonstrate this. But as this guy turns, you can see when I tighten it up, trust me, it does really work. That's not in far enough, so that's probably one of the problems. When I tighten this guy up, you can see that the piece up here flexes. And he operates the other side suspension. So look at that. It's just the same way. Same function as before. Moved out of the way, kind of clever, leaves enough room to stick that big servo in there. Okay, I'm not gonna, probably fall apart. I'm gonna take this out because it's probably gonna fall apart. When I tip this over, we'll throw some screws in this thing, call it a day. All right, that was a little lengthy. I don't know if that made any sense or if it came out clear or not. I suck at this, so, you know, just I hope you got something out of that. This stand is fantastic. I ordered it from Access RC. It's expensive, but the quality is unbelievable. It's got a really broad, it's got a really broad base, got a little tool tray. The top piece, I ordered it, I didn't order it with the top piece. I made this part, you know, it's a hunk of steel, I'll show you how, let me take the clamps off. Clamp it on like this just to make sure I don't knock the whole thing on the floor, which I haven't done yet. And then there's, these things slide, just cut them on the mill, there. And I can position any way you want. This thing sits on top of that roller bearing, and it's just a great thing. This I made too to support the roller bearing. And it'll turn forever, like no friction. So that's kind of cool. All right, and of course the way this thing is, I have the front up here. I can have it the way I had it just a minute ago, you know, naturally, or I can just clamp it on with these crazy strong clamps, and it's not going anywhere. So I'm going to throw some screws in here, and maybe some blue thread locker, and we'll try to assemble the top part of it. I just started doing it. Where's the front? This is the front. So I started to put it in there, and then I realized I'll just save it for the video. I don't know, maybe you guys like watching. You know, it's kind of therapeutic for me, so maybe it is for you guys. Spin this guy around. So I'll get a little thread locker on. Blue. Let's get them in there. There's gotta be a quicker way to do this. Blue. Maybe I'll try to put thread locker after I get the front in. Thread lock. Yeah, that's fine. Another one. Thread lock. Just a dot, right? I should never get these things out. But the blue is pretty good, though. See what I'm doing here? A little snug. Probably has enough thread lock already on it. Stuff still works when it's dry, so I mean, it's a great. It'll do whatever you need it to do, which is stop the screws from vibrating loose. Well, I didn't realize how much there was here. I think this is going to be kind of the boring part. You can fast forward here. Fast forwarding is permitted. I think I'm running. Do I have some in the wrong area here? I think I'm missing one. I'm missing one. Where would it be? Oh well. This looks too small. It's not too small. All right. A little bit more. I don't know if you saw any of that stuff as I block it with my hand. Turn the torque down on my little screwdriver. Don't want to kill this thing. And maybe second speed this up a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You really need a screwdriver. 7. Let's see if I can flip over here. I don't know if this works any better for you. 8. All right, so that's in. I think these are all okay. Good stuff. That guy's on hard. I do like to tighten them up by hand a little bit for the final torquing. You just don't have as much. That's the wrong size. You don't have as much sensitivity. Hello. Okay. Sorry about that. There we go. Don't have enough sensitivity with your hand, with a tool to kind of. Oh, they're pretty snug. Yeah, they're good. Good enough. Looser to get a good feel of how tight they are. If this stuff is showing up or not. Go back over here. I'm not sure if you can see it. There. There. Okay. Great. These, by the way, these cuts are for the motor mount, and I can slide the motor in, forward and back to adapt whatever pinions and spur gear I decide to use. I have a whole Excel spreadsheet, and I calculated every possible combination of pinions and stuff at different speeds. I think I'm right around, at 3.7 volts a cell, 14S, I'm going to be at 130 or so miles an hour, 126. But after, on a full battery, I think it's like 150. It's 4.2 volts a cell, so with the KVs, I think it's 840 kV. I'm running close to 150. If it ever gets that fast, if I even bother with it, I just think it's going to be fun to have it. But it came with a couple from the gas motor, and then I had to make a few more. So I guess you could kind of tell which ones I did. This, and this. These 4. I was able to use, or maybe it's these 4, and these are the whatever. Anyway, I couldn't use ones that were already there once I finished changing everything. The little connector for them looks like this. I don't know if you can see that. It's a crowned washer. So when you get the crown in there, put it on this one, you can see that it'll slide inside that to adjust the motor from underneath. Okay, I'm not going to do that right now. Let's put it flat back again and see what else I can do real quick. This is going to be a long video. Alright, so let me just clamp this thing down so I can not knock it off. Sorry. There we go. Alright, and then this one, I don't like what that is. So the nice thing is you can just slide these things up and down and just keep them out of the way. It's just a neat thing. Okay. So we got the bracing. Let's put some braces back on. So these guys are cool. Again, just machined. Like I said, I cut this whole thing away, and there was no more stability. I removed all the stability there. I need some braces. I need to be able to, set this, the motor, have the platforms to set all that stuff up. So that's what this guy does. So I'm going to put him on. And you'll see how it goes in a second. I was able to reutilize some of the screw holes. Other ones I had to drill and tap. So he's going to go in here. I don't know if you can see, there's a little space, there's a gap there. I have a little piece I made to fill that gap up. Because I'm not actually casting any of this material. Don't lose those screws, So same deal here. So this time I'm going to put the thread locker on first because there's quite a bit of a spacer going on. So thread lock. Alright. This guy goes in here, countersunk, Another screw. Some thread locker. I really hope this is visible to you guys, because I'm wasting a lot of time. Like I said, fast forward. Alright, then let's see. Where was that piece? So this is the little funny looking piece. That's just the spacer. The nice thing about, machining your stuff is, if you need spacers, like this thing, you just make them. Here's a bit wider one. You'll see where these go in us, 5 minutes. So anyway, this guy. This sits here like this. Gotta get this on right because it's not, yeah, there you go. So I even radiused the little edges so it kind of blends in. I don't know if you can see the radiusing, but it blends into the frame very, not bad anyway. Radiused. You can see it. Anyway, sorry. He goes in here. Just like that. And wherever that long screw was I was just messing with, slides him right in there. Nice. The other guy in the back didn't need a spacer. So he just screws straight in. I hope he screws straight in. Unless I got the wrong size screw. Give me a second. That goes through, okay. And obviously I'm not tightening this up until I get all the screws in there, because I don't stand a chance getting this stuff aligned if it's if I'm like a 10,000th out. And here's a great example of that right now. What's that look like? This shaky old man. Not that one. Not that one. Wow. No eyes whatsoever. Okay, not that one. Where is the one? Here it is. Let's see if I can get that in there. Alright. This guy's not going to need thread locker because he's pretty pinched in there. And this guy, I guess I could give him some. Anyway, him, let's get this guy back up. Different screw. It's a different screw. I hope I got the right screws in there. I'm going to have to take this whole thing apart again. That will suck. Come on, oh, come on now. Come on, bitch. Wow. All right. I mean, yeah, you kind of just want to do the thread locker. It's important. Makes a huge difference. Now, let me see if I can get this in over here where I can see a bit better. Good stuff. Turn him. That's the way. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's it. That's that. This one's a smaller screw, go figure. Right on, right on. There we go. This one's countersunk because why not? Comes in good enough. Straighten up my little radius thing, and you'll see how this radiusing kind of makes the thing, I don't know, looks a little bit better. You see that's it's curved now. So this nice curve, this curve running along here, smooth. For some reason that little detail was fun. Tighten. Tighten. And over these. Same guy. Yep. Okay. And get this guy tightened in. Maybe I'll try the one that fits. Tight. You can see it doesn't take much, especially if you're using that thread locker. It's great. All right. Rock solid. So I hope I'll be able to slide the motors under here. I know I'm pretty sure I can. For example, I've got that fucking battery. Sorry, I got that battery mount in the way, but it'll be here. Nice. Okay. Let's see the other side. There you go. Sorry, getting over cold. And now for this one. So same deal, except something caused me to put a stand, an extra stand, on this guy. Because this guy on the other side, he had that, he has an attachment point here and some support here, and he has an attachment point here and support from this whole, I guess, spur gear assembly. See that support? This guy, when I made him, he only had that one point of support, and then nothing was here. So I figured I wanted it to be the same, and I thought that support might be something decent and required, so I made that. It's tapped, drilled and threaded, drilled and tapped. Mounts up to the bottom. So same screws, except this guy has a cool screw on the bottom. So let's get this guy out here. Little blue. Put him through. Come on, Mike. Uh-oh. Inside. That would not have been fun. Good enough. All right, so a couple of screws over there. Blue. Blue. So I'm putting it together. I'm actually doing it. That's kind of exciting, I guess. This guy's in the way. Keep it loose for a moment. This guy, get him in there. And from underneath, which I can, I'll do that, let's put some blue on and I'll show you that. We can, use a bigger one, right? Yeah. Come on. All right. I'm counting on my alignment to guide me into here. Doesn't feel like it's going. Okay, it is. Nice. All right. So let's get these things tightened up, and that brace is on. Nice. Sorry for my head. That. And this guy. Almost gonna terminate this. Getting near the end of this video. This guy. That stays on the top. These are the brakes, right? They're locked right now, but if you pull on the brake, whoops, try the one that works, then you got these mechanical brakes. How cool. I took the mechanical brakes off the back. Well, I didn't take them off, but I'm not going to use the brakes in the back. I'm going to use my ESC, and I'll put some braking on when I get off the gas. I just didn't want to have braking and reversing happening at the same time, and I figured I would assign the front brakes to some other switch on my transmitter, and let the motor take care of the rear. See how it works out. I can always reconnect those. This piece So another machine shop build. Just a flat piece of aluminum. As I mentioned, that stability that was here in the past and is gone. Now you can see this flex is pretty good. Just kind of, there you go, a little flexing. So I definitely needed to brace it up, but I also needed a place to put all the stuff. And you know, I have a big capacitor pack and a whole bunch of other things. And I also needed to reattach a device for the brakes, right? To run these brakes through. So how did I wind up doing that? There we go. All right. So this thing sits on this. And I have my holes here. Okay, that's it. So, and you can see on the top of this, I don't know if you can see it, but I had drilled and tapped these rails to receive these screws. This thing goes this way. Let me put this on in a quick second. And then you can see that these brake cables, this is also a machined out of one piece kind of thing to hold the cables. They'll go in threaded through here. I'll put it on the right one since I'm going to do this anyway. Thread the cable in the hole. Very hard for an old guy. And I might just do this later to speed things up, but come on. It's a tiny little hole that it comes out. See that? Really small. There we go. Made it. I'm going to do just one. And then, of course, just like on a bicycle, you know, that guy slides up inside that hole to support it. And now I can operate the brakes. Did you see the brakes back? There they go. That front disc. Oh. All right. I'll leave him there for a sec. Now you screw these in. Actually, I'm going to get them out of the way. After all that, put it out of the way. All right. So this guy goes here. So I made these the spacers I was mentioning for decoration. Really, I didn't need them. I'm not even going to put any thread lock on these right now because I probably am getting ahead of myself and will need to disassemble everything for some unforeseen reason. But let's see. Come on. There's the thing. All right, there you go. He goes here. This guy here. Line it up. This guy here. And the other thing that those spacers did was I think it helped me guide there we go. Guide these brake lines along the inside and kind of keep them kind of keep them together. Maybe not. All right, a few more. I don't know if you can see. Phew. It really pays to measure twice because then you get these nice drill holes and taps that line up with all the other pieces because there is a lot of holes that have to be all in a line. Okay, so now we have this cool piece. All right, you know that's getting there, right? Capacitor pack goes under here. That motor will go in through here. Not too bad, it does fit under. Sits in there. Not a lot of clearance here. I got a couple of concerns. I don't know how you can see that, but next to the battery thing. So I made this, and you can see it underneath there. Yeah, that clearance there. I made the wall of this battery holder pretty big to protect the battery from the gears should anything go out of whack. I do have enough room. I can grow it a little bit. And actually, one of the gear combos came out to 273 miles an hour with a smaller, much smaller spur gear and a much larger. Anyway, the centers here have to be about 44.25 millimeters center to center. Between 44.25 and 47.25 millimeters is that distance. Got to be that in there, or else I've oversized my unit. So right now, I can't even get this stupid thing in there. We're close to. I'm not doing this accurately, as you can tell. There, 46. If I lined it all up, it would have been 44. No, you can't see that. It's backwards. All right. Anyway, then the next thing that will go in is this guy. I don't know if I will actually be able to slide him under here. Try. ESC. Yep, just like that. And yeah, wow, that is just got. Oh, this thing's in the way. There we go. All right, and of course there's holes that come up underneath there, and I'll connect that next video. I'm wrapping up here because this feels like it's just going to be way huge. And the other thing that I have a little bit of concern with is by the time I get these on with the connectors, that these leads are going to be out there pretty far, but it looks like I will have the, they're going to fit inside the body. It should be okay. I'll just have to cut off some of that cable. It's an 8 gauge AWG stranded, which is why I'm waiting for that huge soldering gun. Anyway, so that was good. That's all. I'm going to stop here because it's just a big thing, a big video, and maybe we can do it again when my soldering gun comes and I start to put this stuff together. So there you go. Have a good day. How do I stop this? There we go. Bye.